Today, we're going to break down a book that totally changed how people think about peak performance, and not just in sports, but, well, in everything. We're talking about Timothy Gallwey's The Inner Game of Tennis. The whole thing starts with this one simple question. What if the toughest opponent you'll ever face isn't on the other side of the net? What if it's actually that nagging voice inside your own head? You know the one that's full of doubt and frustration and just constant overthinking.
And that internal battle, that's what Gallwey calls the inner game. It's the one that's happening entirely inside our own minds.
Have you ever thought, I know exactly what to do, so why can't I just do it? Or, man, I always choke under pressure. Does any of this sound familiar? These feelings, they're not just for the tennis court. They happen on the golf course, giving a presentation at work, literally anywhere. It's this frustrating gap between what we know and how we perform. And that gap, that's where the inner game is either won or lost.
So to understand this, Gallwey gives us a really simple but powerful idea. We're all playing two games at the exact same time.
Okay, so the outer game, that's the obvious one. It's all about hitting the ball, beating your opponent, scoring points. We spend years and years practicing the mechanics for this. But the inner game, now that's the one played against mental hurdles, things like nervousness, lapses in focus, and self-doubt. And here's the absolute key. Mastering that inner game is how you unlock your real, true potential in the outer game.
So, how do we even begin to play this inner game? Well, first, we've got to meet the players, and they're both inside your head. No, seriously, think about this for a second. When you tell yourself, come on, keep your eye on the ball, who is the one talking, and who is the one that's supposed to be listening? This one little question, it reveals this fundamental split inside all of us.
Gallwey calls them self-1 and self-2. Self-1 is the teller. It's your conscious mind, that little voice in your head that's always giving directions, criticizing and judging every single thing you do. Then you've got self-2, the doer. That's your body. It's your natural, intuitive self that just knows how to move and learns from feeling and experience. All your raw talent, it lives in self-2.
And this right here, this is the core idea of the entire book. Getting better isn't just about hitting 1,000 backhands. It's about fixing the broken, dysfunctional relationship between your inner critic and your natural ability. It's about finding harmony inside your own head, not constant conflict. But let's be honest, for most of us, that relationship isn't harmonious at all. It's more like a constant battle, a civil war between the critic and the doer.
And at the absolute heart of the problem is this one simple fact. Your conscious, chattering self-1 simply does not trust the quiet, incredibly competent self-2 to do its job. This mistrust, it is the root cause of almost every single performance problem we have.
You can almost hear it, can't you? This mistrust creates this really toxic internal monologue. Self-1 starts barking orders, getting all tense, trying to micromanage every little movement. And what happens when you have all that tension and overthinking? Yeah, the exact opposite of what you want. Your body seizes up, the movement gets jerky and awkward, and the shot goes flying off into the fence.
And then, here comes the final insult. Self-1, the very part of you that caused the mistake by interfering in the first place, turns around and blames self-2 for it. This vicious cycle of mistrust, interference, bad results, and then blame, this is how we become our own worst enemies.
We all know this feeling. We call it trying too hard. But it's not about putting in too much effort. It's about putting your effort in the wrong place. It's self-1 desperately trying to control something that actually works best when it's just allowed to flow. So, if the problem is a noisy, interfering self-1, the solution seems kinda obvious, right? We have to learn to quiet it down. But how in the world do you actually do that? Well, that's the whole journey. The first, and maybe the most important skill, is to stop judging your own performance as good or bad. Judgment is the fuel that keeps self-1's engine running nonstop. The second you label a shot as bad, you kick off that whole cycle of criticism and frantic overcorrection.
Gallwey has this beautiful analogy for this. You don't plant a rose seed and then yell at it for not being a flower yet. No way. You just accept it for what it is, you give it what it needs, and you trust its natural process of growth. The inner game is about treating ourselves with that same kind of patience. Your backhand isn't bad, it's just at its current stage of development.
There's this fantastic story in the book about a guy named Jack. 5 different pros told him his backhand was terrible because he took his racket back too high. But it never changed. Why? Because his mind,
His self-one was so busy judging the bad swing that he never actually saw it clearly. But the moment he just watched his reflection in a window with no judgment, just pure, simple observation, he had this aha moment. And just like that, his body, self-two, corrected the swing automatically, effortlessly. Awareness itself can be the cure.
See, when you finally manage to quiet that judgmental self-one and start to actually trust self-two, something pretty amazing happens. You stop getting in your own way, and your real talent, it finally starts to flow freely.
I mean, just stop and think about this. To return one single tennis serve, your brain, yourself too, is making billions of calculations in a split second. It's tracking speed, spin, and trajectory, all while coordinating hundreds of muscles perfectly. It's an absolute supercomputer. Why on earth would we think our clumsy, slow, conscious self-one could ever do a better job of managing all that?
And this is the ultimate secret of the inner game. Stop trying to force it. Stop trying to make the perfect shot happen. Trust the incredible instrument that is your body. Get your ego out of the way and just let it happen.
So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, it's a simple four-step loop. First, just observe what you're doing, but with no judgment. See it as it is. Second, picture the outcome you want. Give self-two a clear target, not a list of commands. Third, and this is the hardest part, you have to trust it. Just let go. Let your body perform. And fourth, just calmly watch what happens, let your body learn from it, and then start the loop all over again.
And of course, this is so much bigger than tennis. This is about public speaking, playing an instrument, leading a team, even just having a difficult conversation. That inner opponent of self-doubt and that powerful ally of inner trust, they show up in everything we do. So the real question to leave you with is, what inner game in your life are you going to focus on mastering?